All right, we're live. How's it going, everybody? My name is Vishal Hawker, and I'm from Front. And today I have a very special guest, Jules from Pilot. Jules, want to say hi?
Hi.
How's it going, Jules? Yeah, we're just getting started. We'll wait a minute or so and let people log in. But as we're waiting, feel free to let us know if you have any issues with the sound or anything like that. Uh, Type in the chat. Let us know where you're listening from. We'd love to know where folks are viewing us today. I'm in San Francisco. Jules, where are you? That's such a beautiful background you got there.
I'm outside of Nashville, Tennessee, in one of the suburbs. We are in Safer at Home, so I am on my porch, and it is a beautiful 70 degrees here.
Yeah, it looks gorgeous out there. It's pretty nice today too in San Francisco. The weather's been nice, so excited. That's going to be a nice long weekend. We can all get outside, get some fresh air, and just enjoy the 3 days. Hopefully, you have it. Looks like we got some people from Austin and Sacramento. It's super cool.
That's exciting. I love Austin.
Yeah, I know, me too. Actually, Nashville reminds me a lot of it. Great food, great music. Yeah, I guess as we're waiting, Jules, we'll wait another minute or so. One thing I'd like to start off with is an icebreaker. So I'd love to kick it off with give me a show that you're binge watching right now. We're all at home, been home probably more than usual. So TV is or Netflix, whatever it is you use, is from our best friends.
So not watching, but watched over this weekend. We binged Middleditch and Schwartz, which is, it's only 3 hours. It's a improv show by Thomas Middleditch, who you might know as Richard Hendricks on Silicon Valley, and Ben Schwartz, who's John Ralphio on Parks and Rec. And it was hilarious. It was definitely like some good laughs that I could have used. So
I've heard a lot of good things about that. I love Silicon Valley, and so I got to check that out. What I've been watching, actually, I need a new show, so maybe I'll do that next. But I've been watching the Jordan documentary, like many other people. I'm on just finished episode 9. I have one more left. But yeah, that's been super fun to watch, especially getting a peek inside of his like competitive spirit, which is hardcore.
Absolutely. So we have people from Canada and India, which is, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks. Nicole, Chandrakant, Chris, Gunjan, Joe. Great to see you all. And I think we should get started.
Great.
So today's webinar is about how Jules specifically at Pilot uses Front to help their customers thrive in today's world. So just to kick things off, just wanted to review the agenda. We'll start off with introductions. We kind of did that a little bit already. Then we'll get into Jules' story, which is really interesting, especially in the current situation that we're all in. And then dig deeper into how her team, Pilot, is really helping their customers thrive during this interesting situation that we have with COVID-19. And then we'll go into a Q&A. And so if you do have questions, feel free to ask them at any time. We'll reserve some time at the end for those questions. And if we don't get to you live, then we'll definitely follow up and get those questions answered. So let's kick things off with Front. So for those of you that don't know what Front is the inbox for Teams, basically. And so it's, let me pull that up right here. Front replaces your corporate email with an inbox that unites your team to do their best work. It transforms your work email into a powerful platform that provides easy access to the people, messages, and apps you need to act quickly and effectively. We have more than 5,500 customers using Front. We're integrated with over 50 companies like Salesforce, HubSpot, Asana, and more. And you can use it for your shared inbox use case. You can use it for multi-channel with chat messaging, text messaging, social media messaging, and you could use it just for a better way to improve your collaboration and team productivity, especially during these times when we're all working from home. Front has been really valuable to stay connected and efficient. Now let's go into Pilot. So Jules, let us know what Pilot is.
Hi, my name is Jules Funderburk. I am the head of account support at Pilot.com. Pilot is a tech startup that offers bookkeeping services to startups. We service customers anywhere from seed round to Series C. We are built by startup founders for startup founders, so we really feel and know what that's like. When you work with Pilot, you're paired with a account manager, finance expert, who takes work off your plate and is available to answer questions so you can focus on your business. We specialize in bookkeeping, tax, and CFO services for high growth tech startups. So we have a wide range of products and we have a very collaborative team.
Awesome. And now let's go into your story, Jules. You mentioned you had account support. Tell us more about it and your story.
Yeah, so as the head of account support, our customers sometimes ask questions that are adjacent to their financial services. These are things like they may ask for a recommendation for a business credit card. They may have questions about locating documents in their payroll system, or even things like if they want to refer a friend to Pilot. My role is to manage those communications, and my team is subject matter experts in researching and finding answers to those things that are adjacent to the finance expert knowledge.
Great. And can you tell us more about what your team was using before Front, why you decided to make the switch?
Yeah, so before Front, we were using Gmail as a collaborative tool. We switched to Front. It was before my time when we started to outgrow Gmail. I had actually reached out to Edwina Bear, who is our head of onboarding, and she really championed the Front project. She said that the shared inbox feature of Front was the real driver to get us to make that switch, just because of how collaborative we are as a team.
Great, yeah. And so what would you say would be the biggest change to your team, your process, from Gmail to now using front end, previous companies when you've maybe used Gmail or other tools, and now that you live and breathe in Front?
Yeah. So in a Gmail environment, if an email is sent to an account manager for bookkeeping and they need to loop that tax preparer into that, they would have to actually forward that email out to the tax preparer. In Front, we can just make a comment to loop the tax preparer into the email, and it doesn't have to be sent as a separate loop in. It makes us look like more of a cohesive team and saves time in getting people involved.
Totally, yeah. And we'll dig into that in a bit in terms of like deployment and other sorts of features like that. But let's actually get into the next few sections where we'll talk a little bit more about your team, how they use Front. But first, I think we want to hear about how COVID-19 has changed things for your business and specifically your team's priorities.
Yeah, absolutely. So as a financial services company, we found ourselves in a really unique position to help our customers and other small businesses with the Paycheck Protection Program. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the Paycheck Protection Program, it is a stimulus package in the U.S. in the form of a small business loan that helps small businesses keep their workforce employed during the coronavirus crisis.
Great. And then so tell us about like your team. I believe that once things hit, you put out a blog post that really like helped a lot of the customers you're dealing with, gave them the information that they needed. How did that go?
Yeah, our team came together very early on with the details of the stimulus package. We researched and got the information that we could as soon as we could, and we got that into blog form. So we posted a blog that went out to our customers in email form and just gave them the information that we knew. We held a webinar. We just really wanted to make sure that our customers had the information to empower them to be able to apply for the Paycheck Protection Program.
That's great. And then front. So front comes into the story.
Yeah, absolutely. So after we posted that blog and sent out the communication, we received 3 types of emails almost immediately. The first one was thanking us for the information. We actually received a lot of emails that were nothing but, showing gratitude for receiving that. The other was asking advice for applying for those loans, and we had a lot of questions about what the Paycheck Protection Program meant, if we felt they would qualify, things for that. And then unfortunately, we received a third set of emails from customers that felt even with the Paycheck Protection Program, their business is going to be impacted in a way that they would need to cancel services, and we needed to get them in front of our customer success team to be able to work with them.
And so what are we looking at here with the analytics?
Now, this is actually analytics from our front system from January 1st to April 30th of this year. Our front analytics recorded a 21% increase in emails during March and into April, which was related to the Paycheck Protection Program, COVID, and particularly the blog that we sent out. To be totally transparent, a 21% increase is actually an increase from 35,000 conversations to about 44,000 conversations. So it was a huge amount of emails that we were receiving in that we needed to address. We had several goals around this volume. First of all, we really wanted to make sure that we were being empathetic to our customers. We understood the need for them to have Paycheck Protection Program information as soon as possible. So we wanted to prioritize these emails and make sure that they were definitely being replied to within our 24-hour SLA at the very latest. The second thing is we needed our account managers to continue to focus on delivering quality books, tax, or CFO services. We didn't want their work to be disrupted and therefore delayed. And then the third goal is we wanted to make sure we got the right information to our customers and they were put in contact with the right person as soon as possible.
That's such a huge increase from 30 to 40,000, and same number of employees on your team, and just having to deal with all of a sudden increase in message volume, which is amazing.
Yeah. So the first thing we needed to do was identify which emails were Paycheck Protection related, and we did that with Front's tags and rules features.
Cool. So I'd like to take over a little bit from here and actually dig into Front's tags and rules features, as Jules just mentioned. And so for those of you that don't know, I'd love to describe how this actually works. So here's the gist on rules. Rules in Front allow you to build automatic workflows. You can use rules to sort new messages and route them to the right person. You can also use rules to automate repetitive tasks to help save time. This is probably my favorite feature in Front. It really gives you the power and flexibility to simplify your inbox and open up time to focus on some of your more important conversations. So as you can see here, you could build all sorts of types of rules where, for example, if it's an automatic reply, you could auto archive it. If it's a email coming in from a specific account, specific client, using the email domain name, you can actually assign it to a specific teammate, but also have visibility if it does appear in a shared inbox. And also, this is really powerful, tag a rule as urgent. For example, if you have SLAs and you haven't responded to your emails in time. So if your SLA is for 24 hours, a lot of times companies have 22-hour urgent tags to give them a little buffer so that they make sure that they can meet those SLAs. And then tags. One of the common ways to pair rules is with tags, and I just mentioned that urgent tag as an example. But think of tags as labels. You can label both your personal messages and you can use them for your team messages. It's a really great way to track critical topics, report on key trends, and simply just sort your messages from a specific account or a topic. So I think this really sets a stage for what Jules is about to discuss and how her team has really leveraged both rules and tags.
So these are actually tags that we have in our system. The first set are tags that we created right away to help monitor the COVID and Paycheck Protection Program related emails. So they're both associated with keyword rules in front that added the tags to any email that mentioned COVID, coronavirus, crisis, PPP, Paycheck Protection Program, stimulus cares. Any of those keywords would flag these tags to automatically be added to the emails. Front enabled us to catch those emails quickly because the tags were automatically added. All we had to do was monitor those tags very closely. In fact, our CTO, Jessica McKellar, was online the first couple of weekends, and she helped monitor the tags and make sure that emails were being responded to even over the weekend. We wanted to make sure the emails were responded to as quickly as they possibly could be. So the second line that you see here are tags that we have related to our SLA. The way that we have set up our SLA is we actually have two service level agreement or SLA systems. The first is a business hour system that will tag emails when 4 business hours and 8 business hours have expired. The next is 2 weekday clock related SLA hours. So we have one that's warns at 22 hours and the other one at 24 hours that indicates a breach. These rules will tag emails if they are unresponded to after the indicated time. In a business as usual situation, we monitor only the 22 and 24-hour SLA tags. So what we do is we warn the account managers when we see an email that has hit 22 hours, letting them know that they have a couple of hours to continue work on that email and get it out. In mid-March, we also began more closely monitoring the business hours related tags. We did this specifically for anything that was COVID or Paycheck Protection Program tagged that also had the 4 business hour tag. I appreciate that Front makes it really easy to edit these rules. One of the things that we were noticing as we were monitoring those 4 business hour tags is there were things that were potentially Paycheck Protection Program related that we just weren't catching in our original tags. So I would go in and I would make adjustments to those on the fly.
Nice. And so I just wanted to point something out here there's a lock here, right, next to Inbox, Jules Research, and there's not any locks in these other ones, right? So can you explain why there's a lock and why there's not a lock?
Yeah, so those that don't have a lock are public tags, and there are things that are used or can be seen by anyone across the company. Yeah. The ones that are locked are private tags. My Jules Research tag is something that I add to emails manually. And what I would do is manually add that tag to the emails that I needed to update the rules or that I needed to step in and, create a canned response, we'll talk about in a little while, or anything else around. And so my Jules Research tag is something that I use in Front to flag the emails that I need to go back and make administrative changes because of.
Great, yeah. I have a similar version of Jules Research myself. Cool. So yeah, let's get into SLA analytics.
Yeah, this was actually pretty amazing. So thanks to Front rules and the tags, we actually saw a decrease in the number of emails that we had breached the 24-hour SLA during March and April. Maybe we should be monitoring the tags more closely moving forward to make sure that we have this kind of a trend in the future. But Front told me a lot of things. The analytics told me a lot of things about where we were getting emails. So, for example, you can see in this screenshot that our busiest day to get emails is Thursday, and our busiest time is between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. These are specifically emails that would breach the 24 hours. So the emails that were at the highest risk were coming in late in the day. What I did because of that is I changed the way the account support team works their emails and had them focus on emails later in the day so that they were catching things that were coming in late in the day when they did come in.
Nice. Yeah, it's really cool that you can get this visibility of like busiest day, busiest time. Some of the other metrics here are like total conversations, new conversations, convos per day, and even total messages received.
Yeah.
Great. And now canned responses.
Yep.
How does it tie into what we've already been talking about?
So canned responses happens to be my favorite piece of front. A general support thing is you want to make sure every customer is receiving the same experience. And so you want to make sure that they have the exact same information, that they're being responded to consistently. Front's canned messages help me to build responses so that we're not only ensuring our customers are getting the same information, but it also helps us ensuring that the account managers have access to that information, and without having to have that institutional knowledge, can find what we want the response to be or what the appropriate response is and add it to the email.
Great.
So as we were receiving and evaluating emails from the Paycheck Protection Program, it became clear that there were a handful of questions that were repeatedly asked. So things like, can you help me access this information? I heard that there's a tax extension. Can I file for it, or can I be excluded from it? Things like, what if I haven't heard back from my lender yet for the Paycheck Protection Program? And the canned responses really helped us build things around that.
Yeah, so here you could see like it's kind of a drop down when you click on the canned responses, and these are the various ones that you essentially saved and can use for future reference. It's a great way to like scale a personalized message to all your customers, especially if you've seen a growth in your volume, just as Jules has. And this is like a real canned response.
Yep, this is a real canned response from our system. So I mentioned that one of the questions we got related to Paycheck Protection Program was, can you help me pull my 940 and 941 reports? Or our lender is asking for our 940 and 941 reports. We wanted to make sure that the AMs knew where to find this, because it's not something that they would be searching for elsewhere. And also customers have multiple payroll systems, and those systems have different instructions to pull those reports. So what we did is we built canned responses for each of these reports. So there was a payroll 940, 941 report for Gusto as an example. And then we had a section like this, or a canned response like this, for each of the payroll systems that we frequently work with. So you can see the canned response says, hi, recipient first name. I happen to love that feature. What that does is it pulls the recipient's first name from our contact list in front, so that it saves us from having to type or fill in that information. Then it says, I'm happy to help here. You'll find a copy of your 941 and 940 reports exported from Gusto in your Dropbox folder linked here. I'm terrible at reading out loud. I'm sorry.
No.
And then what's in blue is actually meant to be removed by the account manager before they send this email out of front. These are instructions to the account managers so that they know what to do to find that information, and then reminders for things like, make sure you insert the link or make sure you attach the reports appropriately.
Yeah, I like the all caps at the bottom. Don't forget to attach the reports. I always forget my attachments, so that's very helpful.
I used to have a cross-stitched thing at my desk that said, don't forget to attach, or don't forget to make an attachment, or something like that.
It's the thing is, you realize as soon as you hit send, you're like, oh man, I forgot the attachment.
Yeah.
Cool. So we talked a little bit about this at the very beginning, but email routing. Can you tell us more about how this works and how you've been using it?
Yeah, absolutely. So while canned responses helped us queue up emails, there was also a need to sometimes forward them to the correct team member. I mentioned earlier that pilot customers have a dedicated financial expert, but the expertise needed to file taxes is different from the expertise needed for bookkeeping, and you need a different set of experience for CFO services. And so pilot customers can sometimes have 2 or 3 different financial experts that they work with. It wasn't immediately clear who the correct contact to respond to Paycheck Protection Program and CARES related emails were. So they weren't always routed to the pilot contact who had the most information or was the best person to own that communication. We also have a generic pilot email address, which people were emailing that generic address just to blanket catch everyone and make sure that they were getting a response. We use Front to route the emails to the correct to the correct contact quickly. We either generally what that workflow looks like is we will queue up the canned response. Whoever receives it will just go ahead and queue up the canned response. There's then a share draft button on Front, which actually allows us to share what we have queued up with the person who will ultimately need to action and send that email. Then in Front, we can comment the person's name and just @mention them, which will have it show up in their shared with me inbox, and just say, I've queued up this email for you. Please go ahead and take action and send out to the customer.
Yeah, that's great. The shared draft feature is also another one of my super favorite features. Such a great way to just collaborate quickly. Back in the days when we were in the office, it'd be a great way to avoid the shoulder tapping of like, hey, can you read this email over? Or the idea of just forwarding an email of a draft that you're going to send to somebody. And of course, a lot of mistakes that could happen from that process. So it's cool. It's like Google Docs, but email, basically.
Yeah, we use it for a lot of different workflows. We use it for collaboration. So we're very focused on quality, and we want to make sure that we're providing the right answers to customers. When someone is unsure of an answer, they can tag their lead or me or anyone on the account support team into that email, and we can help review it for accuracy. In addition to just sharing things out, we often have FYIs that we need to give to people. So if there is a customer who's asking a question about the way that their books were handled and they may need a change, we'll oftentimes copy the conversation link and go ahead and put it into our customer happiness channel and just make sure that multiple people are reviewing it and confirming or helping respond to what the correct action is.
Nice. Yeah. Awesome. Cool. So let's get into shared inboxes. We talked a little bit about it, but how does your team use shared inboxes?
Yeah, so we actually use shared inboxes to help manage PTO mostly. So the sharing feature allows us to see emails that were received into our coworkers' emails. We had a number of people who were out of the office over the period of time where we were receiving Paycheck Protection Program related emails. We actually had several people go out on parental leave, for example. And so because of that, we have a need to be able to reach into the emails that are coming in from customers, particularly those that are Paycheck Protection Program related, and make sure they are still responded to and actioned, even though their direct contact is out of the office.
Nice. Just to quickly review shared inboxes and how they work. On your right, you could see my inbox, which would be your personal inbox, and then right below is your shared inboxes, right? And so you could have a variety of them, right? You could do your support contact sales you could do your Twilio phone number. You could even do social media like Twitter. And so you could have multiple people access these various channels collaborate on them, respond directly to text, directly to Twitter, or from the contact at while you're still living in your front instance. So it's a really great way for collaboration and for just ways to keep certain teams and the messages from those teams in a central place where everyone has visibility.
For sure. And Front even allows us to reassign those emails to different contacts. You can take an email that was received to one person and give ownership of it to their direct lead or someone else who has recently had contact with that customer, anyone who may have context who can step up for someone who's unable to answer their email. So it's great for reassigning. It's great for escalating. It's great just to help us make sure that we're striving to provide the service that we want to. Mm-hmm. I think this is the wrap it up, Jules slide. I was anticipating that I was going to get very winded. But so my final thoughts are Pilot found ourselves in a very unique and humbling position to help our customers get information that empowered them to apply for the Paycheck Protection Program stimulus loans. This caused a significant increase in our emails per month, a little over 10,000 as a matter of fact. Front helped us manage these through keyword rules and tags, SLA rules and tags, canned responses, and multiple features that allowed us to share emails across the platform. The work for Paycheck Protection Plan emails in a nutshell was we would catch the emails early using the rules and tags. Then we would queue up canned responses to make sure that the information going out was accurate and share that draft. We would then route the email to the correct team member using the @mentioned comment in feature in Front. The result was a workflow that ensured our customers were getting what they needed, and we saw a reduction in our overall SLA breaches over that time in Front Analytics, which shows we were successful in doing so.
Yeah, that's amazing, and it's such a really great story, I think. Jules, thank you so much for sharing that. I was going to say it's such a great story right now because, we know that so many companies and businesses are struggling and they're looking for help and they're looking for ways to really thrive. And it's awesome that, your team was able to respond and help so many companies out. Jules shared mentioned a few blogs and we talked a lot about PPP and the stimulus package. Here are a few links all on Pilot's blog. I highly recommend going to their blog. It has so much really great content, especially if you are a small business, especially if you're unsure about how all of this works or you're not sure if you've missed anything. These blog posts right here have really great content and information on helping you out. I know these links are a little bit long, but if you just go to pilot.com/blog, you could find them right on the front page.
Yeah, and the SBA did announce the official guidance on Paycheck Protection Program related guidance over the weekend. So if you aren't up to date on that information, I highly encourage you to go to the PPP Loan Forgiveness What We Know blog because it has all of those resources for you.
Nice. Great. So let's open it up to questions. We already have one. If anyone else has a few, please feel free to chime in and ask them away. It looks like we have a question about Google Voice. Let's see. So I think this was related to like the channel, the multi-channel that I mentioned earlier, where we integrate with text, the shared inboxes, social. Mm-hmm. We do not integrate with Google Voice, but we do integrate with a couple of VoIP solutions such as AirCall, Dialpad. You could also build your own integration. So those are the two main ones that we do have for dialers and for talking.
We actually have integration to Google Voice and Google Text. Basically, what those look like is they come in to a shared inbox and we route them to the appropriate person once received.
Great. We have a question about how many support staffers are on your team.
So there are a little over 70 account managers, and there is a team of 6 support staffers that support those 70 individuals. Front makes it really efficient to be able to run agilely and just make sure that we're keeping margins at a good place and helps us keep a small staff that can support a large number of account managers.
Nice. Question from Katie: is it possible to have a specific manager assigned to an email once it has breached an SLA rule?
I can take this one if you want me to.
Yeah, that would be great. I'd love
The
that.
answer is yes, and there's actually 2 ways that you can do this. What we do is we have it add tags, and then managers are just responsible for monitoring those tags. But you can also set up a rule. You'd have to set up 2 rules, actually. And the first one would say, when it hits this tag, unassign the email. And then the second one would say, when it has this tag and is unassigned, assigned to this person. And those 2 rules would make sure that it assigned appropriately. We have workflows just like that.
And that's common though. There's a lot of, and what's great is like it's flexible and customizable, so you can kind of, build your own sort of recipe.
Yeah, I actually prefer the tagging feature. And the reason I prefer the tagging feature is because the assignment is almost a single point of failure. And so if it's assigning to a specific manager who is out of the office, it just seems easier for me to have someone take over monitoring a tag than to have someone take over monitoring the reassignments of emails that come into that person's inbox. Obviously, we are monitoring those inboxes anyways for PTO, but I just prefer the tag feature. It feels more efficient to me.
Nicole says, I thought you mentioned being integrated with HubSpot. Also, is that the case? And if so, how does HubSpot support you differently? Yes, that is true. We are integrated with HubSpot. When you mean how does the HubSpot support us differently, I'm not sure, but the way it works is just like our other integrations, we have what we call like a P4 panel view. And there you can access HubSpot, so you can actually update records within the integration. You can view the records, you can see the information, you can see the emails, the marketing emails that you've sent or the forms that they filled out. And so it's pretty customizable in terms of like the fields that you want there to be shown. And it's really great, especially I'm on the marketing team, so that's probably one of the top integrations I use. How about the integration with the ticketing system? Does Pilot use any ticketing system?
So we use internal ticketing systems. We actually are a services company, so we don't have customers file tickets on our behalf. Internally, we use Jira Service Desk, and Jira does have integrations with Front. At least we are seeing the emails come to and from Front to be able to respond to those.
Yeah, I think this is a question we get a lot from people who work in support and who are used to ticketing. And Front, we have a lot of support teams, support leaders using us, and it is a change going away from ticketing and having it be like an email workflow. So Jules is a great example, and of that. Our head of support, Kenji, also previous Zendesk user, transition from ticketing. So it's possible, it's being done, and I think support really allows for it. Yeah.
In my past career roles, we used Jira's system for ticketing, and just use the comment feature in that. And I think Front is just a lot more collaborative. It also allows the communications that we're having to be modified by multiple people without copying and pasting in the shared draft feature. And I appreciate the way that we use Front and the way that it integrates that way.
Cool. And then what is the method you use for monitoring tags in front? Is it done on a search basis or through analytics?
It's actually super cool. So when you are in front, you have a left-hand menu that lists all of the tags you are watching. And so you're able to just click right down that list on those tags, and it even shows you, like, it'll say the tag name, and then right next to it, it'll say how many emails are currently in that tag. And so you can watch as things come in that will tick up. And a lot of times I'll look over and I'll say, oh my goodness, I suddenly have 5 emails in my Jules research, and I'll have to, go in and take a look at what those are. Once you're in the tag, Front has an option to snooze the email. So if it's something where I know I need to action it, but I know I'm not going to get to it today, I can snooze that email to 9 a.m. tomorrow, and it will count down. So it will show that email is inactive. And that way it's not popping up looking like something that I'm repeatedly reviewing and having to go in and take a look at. It's really effective, and I can see very quickly what I need to use. That is the motivator, though, for my Jules research tag, just because there are so many things as the head of account support that I need to take a look at. My Jules research tag can help me look at what the most priority things are, and it will help me identify the things that I actually need to action over things that are just higher priority being actioned by other members of the team.
Nice. All right. I think this will be our last question before we.
Joe did ask one that it has been missed, though, too.
Yeah, that's the one I was.
You're going to? Great.
Yeah. And it's a great question, and let's go for it. What's your most important metric outside of response time?
Yeah, so outside of response time, man, we really use Front Analytics to measure the quantity of emails that are getting different things. We want to make sure that we're seeing if an AM is getting a larger amount of emails than normal, where they may need someone to step in and help them with some communications. We use it to see if any tags are getting a higher volume of emails, so that we know to look at what the trend might be related to that. Just a whole number of things related to quantity of emails that are coming in. Even the busiest day and busiest time features help us to change the way that we're having staff work and what they're focusing on. And so looking at the quantity and the number of emails that are coming in are great. It also helps me with capacity planning, because if you notice in the graph, there was like the line from this year, and then there's a gray line from last year. And so I can look at trends over quarters or over years, and it can show me how many more emails we've gotten, and I can help measure efficiency of the staff that we do have and need for more staff using those analytics.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. Cool. Yeah, thanks. Thank you, Katie. Yeah, that's our last question. We're actually gonna really wrap it up this time. But Jules, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
This was super fun. We've been working together now for about a couple of weeks, almost a month, on preparing for this, and it's just been really amazing to hear your story, what's going on the front lines at Pilot, how you're helping all these companies in this world, and just like learning more about you. It's just been a real pleasure. So thanks so much. Yeah.
I appreciate this opportunity to showcase some work that I'm very proud in, and I really appreciate everything Front offers to help us be successful in this time.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. And thank you to everyone from all over the world. It's amazing to see people really from everywhere tuning in today and listening to us. So we really appreciate this. A recording will go out as soon as this webinar is done. So just give it a few minutes. And then I'm adding my email here in the chat. So if you do have any questions, any follow-ups about the webinar, feel free to reach out to me directly. But in the meantime, expect that recording, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Vishal.
Yep. Thanks.
Have a great day.
You too.